Hello out there, and welcome to another video from the team here at BlenderTek.com. That's BlenderTek.com. Don't forget to remember, create your way. Today we're going to be looking into Tips and Tricks Volume 3. I think I'm going to rename this Tips and Tricks Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know if I can keep up with Tuesdays and Thursdays, so it might just be Tips and Tricks Thursdays. But I currently have about 10 pages of script written for tips and tricks, just full of tips and tricks and written out as a full script that I can look at for reference as I record my tips and tricks volume videos. They seem to be very popular and they've had good responses so far, so I'm going to continue doing some tips and tricks volume as my recording and my uploads for the next little bit. The reason we haven't been uploading videos for the last couple days is, one, personally I've been working on this guitar model here and I'm going to show you why it's kept me so busy. And secondly, we've been building new systems for the team here. So we've got 4 high-end systems being built with dual SLI NVIDIA video cards and i7 processors and 32 gigs of RAM on each. So once those are built and up running sometime early next week, it'll be great. We can send it up as a network render farm, and everything's going to be going a lot faster and a lot smoother, and I'll be able to finally do some longer, higher quality animations. That's where my current computer struggled quite a bit. Anyways, to get started with Tips and Tricks Tuesdays and Thursdays Volume 3, like I said, I'm going to show you first why I haven't been uploading videos the last couple days. So my project has been this guitar, so I'm just going to give you a quick little slideshow here to show you the process. We started off kind of at this stage, and then we just slowly moved on, getting parts built one by one. At this part I just added some simple color. This was in the Blender internal engine, fretboard, tuning pegs, strings, which I did with curves. So basically this was the final model almost. And then we got the UV layout started. I did all the texturing by hand. I straightened all the UVs out by hand, and so on and so forth. This was just a base result of the textures, no materials. Still an internal Blender render engine. These were the fret inlays, mother of pearl. Close-up of the mother of pearl on the bridge. And then just a preview of some lighting. Headstock. Setting it up in a scene. Testing out one final last setup with the lighting. And this was the final render result. It's in full HD, but I did it kind of well, I just flipped the dimensions, but as you can see, it's pretty good. This is only on about 30 samples, so I'm going to crank it up to 1,000 and let it render for a while. And I created the bump maps and spec maps in Photoshop, so I might create a how-to with that, because I found that was very useful, and I learned a lot actually doing that. And anyways, yeah, so I like the look of this. So that's what I've been busy with the last 3 days. That's why I've uploaded no videos. So anyways, let's get started on Tips and Tricks Tuesdays and Thursdays Volume 3. Don't forget to subscribe for more Blender, Unity 3D, and programming videos. The team tries to add between 3 to 10 a day. So, the first tip, let's move into Blender. I'm actually going to use my guitar scene to show you as many tricks as possible. Now, I've turned all my subsurf modifiers off so that everything loads faster. As you can see, I've turned everything down to 0, because before I was at about over 1.5 million faces before the subsurf modifiers were added. So now I've got it down to about 70,000. So everything will be easier to work with as I show you the tips and tricks. So let's get started. The first one I want to show you is duplicating objects, but duplicating them a different way. I'm not going to use anything in here, but I am just going to simply Control A, add a mesh cube for now. So usually what you would do to duplicate an object is you would go, okay, so usually you'd go Shift D to duplicate an object. If you select an object and you go Alt D, that still duplicates it, but this is called an instance duplication. As you can see, it says duplicate linked. So watch what happens. If I take my original object and I edit it, let's say I select this vertex right here. Notice how it's selecting this vertex of the duplicated object? If I change my original object, it now changes my duplicated object because it's a linked instance. So any change I make to the original object is automatically changed in the second object. But if we go back into object mode, there's still two separate objects technically. It's just any change made to the original will be applied to the Alt D duplicated one, whereas the Shift D duplicated one here doesn't take the changes on. So if you're setting something up where you have multiple instances of an object and you think you might be making changes to them in the future, use Alt D to make an instance duplication, or a link duplication as Blender calls it, I guess, and that way you can edit the original object and have it apply to all your duplicated objects. So that's a pretty obvious one, everyone kind of knows it, but I want to make sure everyone does know it. So here's another one I'm going to show you. Let's take this cube right here. Let's go into edit mode and let's select all the vertices and let's just subdivide it a whole bunch. So we get a ton of squares. That'll allow us to show quite a few tricks at once. So I want to show you something. With everything selected, go to select and then choose random. You may have skipped over this completely in the past and not noticed it, but this is actually a very useful thing for setting up certain scenes such as lighting and such. So click random and bring up your T toolbar. You can now see we have a select random percentage. So I'm going to deselect since I already have everything selected. As you can see, it's now deselected 50% of the random vertices. And you can change the percentage, so all the way to 0, all the way to 100 to get something interesting. So this is great for creating, I don't know, like I said, it's great for creating like light rays. If you took a circle subdivided and you deleted a bunch of faces and put a lamp inside to create like volumetric rays. So now that I've got just some random vertices selected, I can close that toolbar and now I can just delete those vertices, and as you can see, it's deleted all those random vertices. This also works in face mode. Let me quickly show you that. So I'm going to just select a single, I'm going to select no faces, sorry. So with the toolbar open, select random. I'm going to select and I want just a random percentage. Somewhere around there. X, delete only faces, and as you can see, we now have a box with a bunch of holes in it. So if you put a light inside of there, you'd have a bunch of nice light rays coming out. So for the next tip, just a quick add-on. When you're doing something like that and you need to open the toolbar to get your operator panel here, what you can do instead is, let's say we did the random thing, and instead of opening the toolbar, you can just hit F6 and you get that toolbar that comes up, and then you can change the values on the fly before you select something else. And then when you're done, just simply move your mouse away and it goes away and everything's set. So that's just a quick add-on to that. Next I'm going to move into the node editor. So let's change our screen to the node editor. So I've got my body node set up here, right? So let me delete some nodes. So control and drag, and I'm just going to cut these away. I'm going to cut everything away. So nothing's selected anymore. If you select, say I want my color texture right here, and my diffuse, to my mesh shader, to my material output, you can select multiple nodes at once and then press F, and it will instantly fill in everything as smartly as possible. And you can do this with as many as possible. For example, I can try to box select everything and hit F, and like I said, it'll try to connect everything as smartly as possible. Now, as you can see, it didn't replicate the original result, but this can save you time when you're setting up nodes in the beginning especially, or when you know which way nodes need to go. So this, like I said, can save you a ton of time. Just select multiple nodes, hit F, and it's going to try to fill them as best as possible. There you go, nice and quick. I don't know if you need the Node Wrangler add-on enabled or not. If you do, it's just in your user preferences under add-ons. Easy enough. Anyway, on to the next tip. In Volume 2, I showed you how you can use math operators. So if we go into edit mode and we select this, if we select this cube and we go into edit mode and select all. So let's say I wanted to rotate this cube 45 degrees. Now I could simply go R and rotate 45 degrees, but let me show you something I learned that you can apply your own way. It's called advanced input mode, and it was just added in version 2.70. So if you're going to do that, let's press R to rotate, and then the first thing you need to do is press the equals key. So I've now pressed the equals key on my keyboard, so that enables advanced input mode. Now I can do something like pi. So as you can see, it already has 3.14 degrees in there, so it knows what pi is because I've enabled advanced input mode. So I can go pi divided by 4r, and as you can see, that's 45 degrees. So I've now rotated it 45 degrees by using advanced input node by typing in pi divided by 4r. Now in volume 2 I said that I didn't think you could use division. This shows you that you can, as long as you press the equal sign before you do any inputting. So again, this is a bad example, but you can apply this to different circumstances and it might help you for math operands. Another way this works with advanced input mode is that we can do fractions of a unit. So let's say I wanted to scale it like, I don't know, something like 3/4 of a unit. So I'd press S to scale, I'd hit equals first to make sure I'm in advanced edit mode, and then you would go, if I went 4 and then /1, that brings up 4 divided by 1, which is 4. However, you can now go 1 divided by 4, and that brings up 1/4. So you can now use advanced fractions with advanced input mode enabled. So if I don't really know what the decimal would be when I wanted a fraction, let's say I wanted it something like 22 divided by 61. So that's 0.36. I would have usually had to bring up the calculator to do that, but now that I've pressed equal to enable advanced input mode, I can now use pretty much any math operand. I can now, like I said, use pi. I can do radians, which is the just typing in R, as I showed you before, and I can do division like this. We can still do multiplication. I think you can do addition. Let's try that out. 2 plus 2, yep, that's 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you can do all math operands. Let's try a modulo. 2% 5. So I don't think that works exactly because 2 mod 5 would leave you with 1. But either way, the percent sign is still doing something apparently. So that's the advanced input mode. Like I said, apply it your own way and it's very, very useful. So now that we're getting up to the 20-minute mark because of my rambling at the beginning, I'm going to end this here, and then we're going to start off right from here in Volume 4. So thanks for watching from the team here at BlenderTek.com. Again, that's BlenderTek.com. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please like it. And don't forget to subscribe for more Blender, Unity 3D, and programming videos. We try to add from 3 to 10 a day. If you dislike this video for some reason, please don't just exit. Please leave a comment or email the team at info@blendertech.com as to what you did not like and what we can improve on. We also take requests for tutorials, so let us know what you want or want more of. See you next time, and remember, create your way. We also offer hard copies of any video we've uploaded to YouTube. If you want a hard copy to download onto your hard drive to watch later, just leave a comment or email us and we will upload it to our server and send you the link so that you can download it. That's all. See you next time.